If you were getting bearish on price, you shouldn't be, because like I said yesterday, this is Groundhog's Day. We get to do it all over again. Yes, ADA is in fact back in the 56-cent range, the same price we saw yesterday, the day before that, all the way from Saturday of this prior weekend. We have been kind of stuck in this range and just essentially chopping around. Now, we did get a good overnight pump on some great news for the markets, which I will talk about that. And I do want to also talk about something that people need to prepare for tomorrow. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So yes, here we sit back at 56 cents, just trying to make our way for the day. And this was a very distinct shift in overnight trend. And right now we're dealing with something we've dealt with in the past. And that is that the two sides, I don't want to say two sides, but the overseas money and the US money, they're not agreeing, right? Sometimes we'll get an overseas pump, we'll get a US dump. Sometimes we'll get an overseas dump and a US pump. And it's just this back and forth. And that's what's getting us stuck in this range. And you guys can see that we did in fact have a nice rally where almost every single hourly candle overnight has in fact been a green candle. Love to see it. Also helps when BTC does one of these as well. BTC having a nice daily candle up actually about 2% at the time of filming this video. It snapped back to trend here. We talked about this retest at the 20-day moving average, which we did get yesterday. And now, it looks like we're going to maybe attempt another breakout. Not saying it has to happen for sure. We obviously got rejected several times here, but we're going to at least probably try again. We'll say ADA's up about 3.75% versus BTC's 1.9%. So that is great to see. And what we've been doing is we've been just liquidating a lot of leverage, just basically chop leverage, right? We did liquidate a bunch of longs yesterday on that sea of news that we got, some of the negative events that were happening yesterday. And of course, the shorts followed down. We got liquidations to the upside. Not really a surprising thing. That's why we're seeing the chop. That's why we're seeing the ups and downs and just kind of returning back to the mean every single time. Now, I will say one thing we were fighting yesterday that really did give us some pushback was institutional money. We did actually get a first day of institutional selling in quite some time for BTC. Actually, the first time since early June. That was $342 million, sold. And BlackRock just stood pat, didn't do anything. Now, I will say a lot of times when we've gotten these single days like this that just seemingly came out of nowhere, we usually get a really nice bounce back and some accumulation. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as the day progresses, or tomorrow when we check. But I will say on the Ethereum side, they did some buying, actually larger than the prior day. BlackRock actually bought $54 million worth of Ethereum. So this has been a pretty good week so far in terms of institutional buying on the ETH side. Again, maybe giving us a little bit of that phase 2 that we've been talking about. And I'll talk about that in another video. Wasn't actually prepared to talk about that in this one. But really the overnight trend really got kicked off with this. So Donald Trump actually posted that his representatives had a long and productive meeting with the Israelis today on Gaza. Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize the 60-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. The Qataris and Egyptians, who have worked very hard to help bring peace, will deliver this final proposal. I hope for the good of the Middle East that Hamas takes this deal, because it will not get better. It will only get worse. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And that is what we love to see. Markets love certainty. They do not like fighting and war and conflict. So this is breathing a little bit of confidence into the crypto market, right? It's probably why we're getting our bounce back here. Now, we have something coming today that people need to be aware of. That's obviously the non-farm payrolls. But tomorrow, people need to be prepared, because we have a jobs report, and jobs reports have caused volatility. There's a couple things we need to pay attention to here. One, revisions. Revisions have been trending the direction of down. So we've been actually getting cooler reports cooler actual reports than what have been reported. But we also need to make sure that we don't have just this super hot jobs report, because if we do, then it's probably not going to be good for the markets. All right. So when we take a look back at some of these dates right here, last one, June 6th, was actually a trend reversal. All right. Sent ADA actually running 17% to the upside. Love to see that again. Love to see ADA actually pushing back into the 60s at 62 cents, like we were talking about. That could be, frankly, on the table here. All right. We again got to break through that 20-day moving average. That's going to be a focal point of resistance. So just pay attention to that. We also have had days of red. Just take a look back here on May 2nd, right? This pushed us further to the downside. Now, understand that wasn't the only thing, but you can see each one of these days that we do get a jobs report, there tends to be quite a bit of volatility, quite a bit of people playing games, playing with leverage, et cetera, et cetera. That might be what we're getting into tomorrow. So people do, in fact, need to be prepared for this. There could be some swings, all right? It's like I talked about, and actually, I don't know if I talked about this. Daily stochastic RSI for ADA is in a bearish cross right now. We're putzing around right around the top of our trend. We've done that several times before where we've actually been setting up for the next leg. Just be aware of that. At the same time, on the weekly, we're down in this oversold range on both the signal line and the line itself, the stochastic RSI line itself. So we might be setting up for a potential reversal here, bottom reversal. So a lot of things in play currently. Not saying that, things are overly bullish. It's great to see, obviously, ADA right on its trend once again. But again, we're kind of putzing around. We're biding our time until the market makes a more decisive move. And it hasn't been that as of late here. We've been stuck in this basically since June 21st, so almost 2 weeks now. But eventually this will break and the market will make some moves. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. What do you think we get today? What do you think we get tomorrow? But have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.